fresh from his appearance in the Tokyo Olympic Games earlier this summer. Nalek KORBAJ BARRERA, the boxer wearing blue, going in pursuit of his opponent Christopher LUTEKE of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The 24-year-old wearing red, actually born and resides in the United Kingdom, but representing the land of his heritage. The compact figure, Nalek KORBAJ BARRERA, experienced operator in AIBA style boxing, competed in the World Championships 2 years ago. He was an Olympian in the Tokyo Olympic Games, losing in both global tournaments in the first preliminary round, but he was a member of the Venezuela Caciques in World Series of Boxing, where of course the premise of that whole tournament is Barrera going in search of his man while he's trapped on the ropes, just clipping his chin with a couple of punches. But there he's mixed against Rogelio Romero, who was eliminated earlier today. Bektemir Melikuziev, the outstanding boxer from Uzbekistan, who's now competing in the professional ranks. Julio Cesar La Cruz in pursuit of another World Championship title here, his 5th one. That's the caliber of opponent that Nalek KORBAJ BARRERA has mixed with in World Series boxing. So here he is in his 2nd AIBA World Boxing Championships against the man making his World Championship debut. Good left jab landed by the shorter boxer wearing blue. Left hook landed on the inside and then a left hand through the middle as KORBAJ BARRERA continues to pour his way forwards. Volume on that cluster of punches from LUTEKE as the two men exchanging shots to the body, but then look at the hands of KORBAJ BARRERA snake through the defenses of LUTEKE. While he was at short range, uppercut brought through up the middle from KORBAJ BARRERA. Bobbing and weaving in front of his man, making the taller opponent miss, and the bell barely audible here at the Stark Arena to conclude that first round. So LUTEKE taking it for the judge from Guatemala, KORBAJ BARRERA taking it on the card of all of the other scoring judges. 4-1 in favor of the boxer from Venezuela. Well, he's trying to establish his jab is LUTEKE, but it's a dynamic figure being presented by KORBAJ BARRERA. So we move into the 2nd round. Quickly out to ring center was LUTEKE, darting laterally both left and right. You can see that he's the taller, longer of the two boxers, trying to establish that left hand. Brings the right hand into play. Good burst of punches through the middle, took the power off it and increased the speed and volume to score with that cluster. Corkscrew left hand not too far away from KORBAJ BARRERA. Double left jab is of the pecking, poking variety from LUTEKE. Up on his toes, moving clockwise around the perimeter of the ring. He really is using all the space of the roped arena up there and making it very difficult for KORBAJ BARRERA to close the gap. But he's got to ensure that in using the space, puts in bursts of punches occasionally, as he was doing for the first 40 seconds or so. But when he's disengaging like this, there you see, that will keep the judges happy. So it's not construed as running. There, a flicking right hand as his feet turn momentarily. He's got to be careful that if he's going to flick like that, that his punches, they have to land with sufficient force in order for them to be scoring shots. Because he could give the impression, if he continues to box in this vein without much more purpose on his punches, could give the impression that he's trying to nick it. Christopher LUTEKE trying to steal it rather than win it outright. Always a dilemma that back foot boxers face. Occasionally they've got to do something other than box on the back foot. You look at the best exponents of that style of boxing. Even Julio Cesar La Cruz, who will be operating in and around this division, whose successes on the global stage have come at 81 kilograms. As good as a back foot boxer as you could hope to see. But even he would occasionally plant his feet and stick his opponent with 2 or 3 hard direct shots, which are easy for the judges to see were scoring blows. Right hand did get through the defenses from LUTEKE. KORBAJ Barrera, well, his work's been nullified here in the second round, primarily because he can't get himself into punching range. LUTEKE moving around the ring very effectively, up on his toes. And the more compact boxer wearing blue simply hasn't been able to close the gap. But again, there's a good burst of activity from LUTEKE. Disengages once again. Well, that's a very good response from the man in red. Going about his business on the back foot primarily. He didn't land with many scoring punches, but I think he landed more than Nalek KORBAJ Barrera. And that is why he's been able to turn it around, edging the second round 3-2. So we've got 3 scorecards of 19 points apiece going into the third and final round. This contest is up for grabs. It was a very clever display in the second round by Christopher LUTEKE. So into the third and final round of an 86-kilogram cruiserweight contest that is in the balance. Nalek KORBAJ Barrera took the first on a 4-1 split, but then LUTEKE cleverly changed tactics in the second round to box like this. Less pop on his punches, more volume. And as a result, KORBAJ Barrera simply hasn't been able to close the gap. His feet not quick enough to keep up with the twinkle-toed movement of LUTEKE. Good left hand to the body during that cluster. And again, that probably is going to be enough to keep the judges happy. That type of thing won't be, but as long as he punctuates it with bursts of activity and scoring shots, well, it's going to be very difficult for KORBAJ Barrera to get himself into contention in the final round. And those punches, nothing on them, and they weren't landing on the target area either. But KORBAJ Barrera, he's got to throw caution to the wind here, surely, because a minute's gone and he's not managed to close the distance. Now he gets his hands busy with a burst of punches to the body. And again, why is he not letting his hands go? That is ridiculous, my goodness. I'm sorry, but KORBAJ Barrera spent the entire second round practically chasing shadows. He gets into punching range. LUTEKE is holding him off, so his torso is an open target. And KORBAJ Barrera doesn't let his hands go. He's waiting for the intervention of the referee. Very strange tactics indeed from such an experienced operator. Because again, he's got to try and surely get this man to hold his feet, and he doesn't want to be engaging in this type of contest because he's not going to be as successful as KORBAJ Barrera, as LUTEKE. So surely he's got to close the gap, make it physical on the inside, try and score to the torso of his opponent. Because again, I don't think this type of boxing is going to be enough to impress the judges that LUTEKE is producing, because it could be construed as running rather than back foot boxing. But KORBAJ Barrera has got to do something to try and counter it, because this is looking busy doing not very much for me, for the man in red, or from the man in red. Did a good job in the second round of punctuating his back foot movement, his lateral movement, with bursts of activity, trying a flashy shot with a bolo right hand, which he turned into a straight but couldn't find the mark. But he's managing the clock very effectively. And Korbaj Barrera has fallen into the trap. He pursued, then he stood off, then he got inside, he didn't do anything. And I think this round has gone begging because Korbaj Barrera hasn't landed any leather of note. And I'm not quite sure how you can raise this, how you can declare him the winner of a round where he didn't land any punches. Very strange choice of tactics from Nalek Korbaj Barrera, particularly when you consider his experience. And that's not a criticism, it's just an observation. But I was aghast when he finally got himself into punching range and he didn't let his hands go. And you can see from his forlorn expression, head bowed, I don't think he expects to get this one. Quite frankly, neither do I. But let's get the official verdict to see who goes through to the round of 16.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the bout number 102 in the ring A, the winner on points by split decision is the boxer out of the red corner.
And here's confirmation. Christopher Luteke with a split decision victory over the 2020 Tokyo Olympian Nalek Korbaj Barrera. 5 scorecards returned of 29-28 after the Venezuelan boxer took the first round on a 4-1 split, but then a clever change of tactics from Christopher Luteke, adopting a back foot posture for rounds 2 and 3. And Nalek Korbaj Barrera unable to close the distance, and it's the man from the Democratic Republic of Congo who goes through, eliminating Nalek Korbaj Barrera in the first preliminary round. He exiting the global tournament